Lemon's favorite.
It's Golden Jazz Master.
Yeah.
Wait for a bigger drop for that one. Yeah.
90 seconds.
Whoa, why am I... That's weird, man.
Hey, you want this keyboard? Nah.
Like a fucking. Oh, I know, they're dirty, rotten, filthy whores.
That's cool.
You got
picture.
You got like a fucking. You got like a fucking. Oh, I know, they're dirty, rotten, filthy whores.
That's such a good
You need
DJ.
to do like a Bubbles remix.
Fuck. Fuck.
You got tearing me apart, Lisa.
Yo, this is the remix. The emergency exit remix. I'm gonna have to save that here. That's there, dude. That ain't going anywhere.
12.
Gotta relax.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Emergency Exit. That's right. You didn't have to turn that down yet. We are about to get started here. So, what are you guys up to? You guys ready?
I like it.
We're listening to some music.
I like it.
It's good.
It's catchy. Kind of sneak up on you a
Forgot I
little bit.
turned off all my Facebook notifications. I don't want to get any more of those. I don't care what you say on my Facebook. It says still 1 minute here. Chicka chicka ah. If you can hear me out there. Oh, I see a thumbs up.
That may have been me.
Oh, okay. Well, we're here.
I like it.
Postman Pauly.
Oh, I know. Like a fucking Sam's.
Now ain't that a bitch? Now ain't that a bitch?
Well.
Listen to me, fucking.
No.
Beep, beep. Hey,
Are we on
that's
now?
right. Well, we've been on for like a minute. I don't know if this is like a... I mean, I know that there's a lag.
Yeah,
You're a lag.
I'm watching for it too. I've got it up.
You're a
as well.
towel. You're a towel. No, sir. You are clearly a towel. We're just making sure we're getting everything going. We're getting the monitor up so that we can get all your comments. Hi. I like it. I like it. Who likes it?
Stop being weird. Stop.
Where the fuck is this
Stop it.
thing? Why isn't this popping up?
I don't know, man. Are you trying?
Is this your first time?
It's my first time.
I've only done this one other time, but it was a long time ago,
Gotta
so it
relax.
might as well be fresh.
This is Earth Radio. And now here's human music.
It's just gonna keep doing this.
Yeah, it's like a 10-hour mix. It'll never stop.
Yeah.
Human music.
Oh wait, I just got
I
some.
like it.
Brandon got some.
So do I, yeah. Going live, you and I. There's too much me in the middle. Is that supposed to be like that?
No, that's good.
Do you have everything set up around it?
The thing's gonna be in the middle of y'all. I'm gonna pop up over your right shoulder when I'm on. Hey, we got Coach watching. Coach, how's the weather out there in Houston? Is it hot?
I like it.
sucker.
If it's anything like here, then it's at least 107 fucking degrees.
Guys, I tried to take a picture in my car the other day.
I'm going back to Montana where it was like
it said like
80.
111. I tried to take a picture, but my phone was overheating.
Jesus Murphy.
Seems about right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. Freaking hot as Satan's balls is what Coach.
How do you know? Prove it. All right, let's get started, y'all. You guys ready?
I like it.
Satan's balls, huh? I imagine those are warm. I mean,
You
he hangs out in hell all the time. It's not like they ever get a
Here we
chance
go.
to cool off.
Check, check, check. We are getting audio through.
You are now listening to
Our contestant is Carlos. His friends call him Los. Los?
That's right.
I do tend to explode only when by myself.
What's the big deal that she
Touched
did
a man's trash can.
Bro.
Right now, I'm committing a Schedule 1 felony. Allegedly.
Check, check.
It's bullshit.
He's the mole, dude. He's got the mole in the base of his cock, dude. It's fucking bone like a hole.
Mom, you are a horrible human being.
She's being
You know what? Why
right.
don't you die from breast cancer or something? Hey, you don't.
No, you take that back.
That's usually, it's, hey, I'm so-and-so,
I'm just
so-and-so,
trying
blah,
to
blah, blah.
keep it away
I'm
from my
also a
elbows.
Mormon.
Here we go.
But in the event of an emergency, your regular exit might not be the quickest or safest way out.
This is painted on.
There's no way out. There's no way out.
Oh, that's right. Now is the time to open your mind. In our search for the unknown, who knows what we will find? This is Emergency Exit. This is episode 83, and today is July 23rd, 2018. We are broadcasting to you again from our floating tin can. I am your host, Los. Follow me.
Spacey.
That's good. It was real spacey. I am your host, Los. Follow me on Twitter at That's Right Los. Joining me, as always,
Well, you can't say that anymore.
follow him on Twitter at Ryder Guitar, Mr. Nick. Reunited, and it feels so passionate, Ryder. Welcome back, buddy.
That's right. It has been a minute. Or a lot.
It's been several minutes, I believe.
Multiple minutes have
So
passed.
many minutes. He's back, man. Streaming us live to the universe and working so hard for that money is at Flying Zombie Brandon, the Hard Hat Mitchell, my man.
I'm here.
Welcome back, Nick. It's been
Thank you.
Been some time.
It's been a month.
We've hung out once before, once after you got back, and got loaded as hell.
That we did.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Walk to the gas station, you know, that's how drunk you get. You're like, we gotta go to the gas station. Let's walk. Well, we can't drive there, let's walk.
That's right.
Oh, man. So we've got another packed episode. Do you have any stories you want to tell before we get into the breakdown? Anything cool?
There was some interesting things that happened. You know, a month on the road, things happen.
Yeah, man.
There were a lot of fights.
Fights like between the bandmates and
No, I mean, well, yeah, if you're stuck with that many people on a bus for that long, you're gonna bicker. I mean, things are gonna happen.
Can't poop on the bus.
Definitely cannot poop on the bus.
Oh,
no solids,
big
liquid
no-no.
only.
Yeah. Stinks.
But so I mean, there are plenty. Maybe I'll sprinkle these out through the next few shows. So
Sprinkle.
I don't take it. But my favorite one, it was our second night. We did a 2-day residency in Stanley, Idaho. It was our second night, and we were waiting for the parking lot to clear out so we could back the bus and trailer in and load up and get ready to take off for the next town. And there was this fight going on in the parking lot, so we couldn't obviously get our shit in there. And this big dude, who goes by the name of Pork Chop, had another dude pinned down on the ground, and the dude that was pinned down was screaming, "Just do it, man. If it'll make you feel better, just let it out. Just fucking go for it, man."
Pacifist, but he's getting.
And so he got clobbered a couple times. He got chopped.
All right.
Is that the term? Oh,
it is if you're Pork Chop.
Yeah, man. You got chopped, motherfucker.
So then Pork Chop gets up, crawls off the guy, and comes walking over towards us. And this fucking lady that I don't know if she was watching the whole time. Anyway, I didn't see her. To me, she came out of nowhere and like jumped on the dude that was pinned and hogtied him.
Whoa.
Straight up hogtied the guy, like slapped him, open hand slapped across the face a few times.
Like rodeo style? Because I've seen like at the rodeo, they jump off that horse real quick.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Was it like that?
Yeah, so we were like, hey, did you time it? She goes, no, I didn't think to time it. I have no idea. But so he just laid there tied up and slapped in the face until the cops showed up. And they cut him loose and took his keys. They're like, we're just going to take him home. You can get a hold of us tomorrow for his keys. You know, no big deal. I'm like, man, small town.
Wow.
For sure.
The cops were the ones saying, we're going to take his keys and he can...
So the
cops
cops
he's writing that car off.
No, they took his keys and they gave him a ride home. He was going to so he can get a hold of the cops the next day and get his keys and his car back. They were just making sure he wasn't going to be able to drive anywhere that night.
Damn.
And Pork Chop, apparently the guy was saying that Pork Chop's kid wasn't his because Miss Chop gets around a lot.
Oh, and she's probably had him on child support for the last 16 years.
So he's...
How dare you talk
Yeah,
to me
exactly.
like that?
So he had to throw him to the ground and chop him a bit.
Damn.
And then the guy got hogtied just to keep the pork theme going here.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, he's like, I had to fight the guy because he said my kid isn't his and talking shit about my woman, you know. So way to go, Chops.
Honor.
And then he was even saying like, I remember this asshole last year in Boise, Idaho. I had to slap shit out of him then too. Like, okay, man, that's...
Well, what was he doing in
fucking
Boise,
great.
Idaho?
Man, it's not like there ain't shit to do in Stanley, Idaho. It's a population of 60 people.
Oh, that's
60
right.
people.
60 people.
Jesus.
And it only operates, in the warmer months because it's in the mountains. So fall to spring, nobody's there.
It'd be really sweet to live out there.
So anyway, that was one story.
Well, welcome back,
Pork
man.
Chop is just fucking beating people up.
I hope to hear some more awesome road stories. Let's see. We've got nice Nick Explains bit we can do every once in a while. Why not?
Okay.
Like while you're explaining your touring fun. That's like the Nick Explains.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, that went off great.
Yeah, that was good.
On today's program, we are going to be talking about the second of the third episodes on speech, more specifically, freedom of speech. Are we free to say anything we want? What happens if someone doesn't like what you have to say? What you say can and will be used against you, and anything you say could be presumed as perhaps hateful.
I mean, this seems really applicable with all the shit on Twitter, all the people finding like really, really old jokes.
Yeah.
Like James Gunn got fired for something he said like 10 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah. So they're just digging up old shit. And
now he can't make
now he
Who
can't
has
make
the
Guardians
patience
3.
to dig
Guardians
through
3.
somebody's
No
Twitter
fucking
feed?
kidding.
I mean, if it's somebody like me, first of all, you can't go back 10 years in my Twitter feed.
Because you've had it for like a month.
You gotta
well,
pay,
no, I've had
kid.
it a little longer than that, but I'm not very active on it.
Right.
Yeah,
I just
absolutely.
don't get it. And anyway, we're going to finish your intro, sorry.
Well, this week we're going to discuss political correctness. And for nearly 100 years, political correctness has been brewing. Once someone called Postman Pauly is now somehow called Postal Carrier Pauly.
Well. Look at you. Shitface.
Whoa, and you most certainly should never call anyone a shitface either. Our language and culture is under attack by the Marx. No, not Chico, Zeppo, Gummo, Harpo, and Groucho. I'm talking about Marxism.
Oh, Carl.
Yeah, Carl.
Yeah, that
one. Coral Marxism.
Coral?
We dive into where and when political correctness came from and where it's going. Plus, we'll take your calls when we play PC or not PC.
Oh,
that'll be
or
the
Apple?
question. Or Apple?
PC or Apple?
PC or Apple? No,
Come on.
No, who we played that was Jason Long.
Android.
And guess who wins that one? That's PC all the way, baby. Later, an unwarranted protection fee charged to a 23-year-old free speech speaker by Australian police in the news.
Well, that's Australia, though.
Yeah, well, we in our last episode, you weren't here. We talked about some of the freedom of the hate speech laws, the offensive speech laws in other countries. And let me tell you, they suck.
Yeah?
They suck. But a lot of them do have that fighting words doctrine like we also have. So you learn about the fighting words?
Which apparently is your kid ain't yours because your lady a hoe. Them's fighting words.
Them's fighting words.
You will get chopped.
But first, before we drink this horrible PC that's been brewing for a century, I was thinking we start with something a little bit more palatable with this brew.
Oh, I thought you were going to say potable.
Potables?
Potent potables!
It's the brew
That's right. We got a Brew World Order, and here it comes.
That picture's been up there all day.
So what are we drinking today, Nick?
Later Days by Twisted X Brewing Company.
Nice. And they're
in
right at
Dripping Springs, Texas, just a little bit west of here.
kind of drink. What kind of beer is this?
This is a session IPA.
Cracking it open.
Ooh, it
in
sounds
Session.
really good.
Brew World fashion, and we
Session.
pour it out.
When did that start?
I started doing this. I don't know. I think after we started doing close-ups and clips and shit.
And here I am left with a can and a koozie like a sucker.
I sort of always wanted this to be part of it. 'Cause
See what
I
I'm
wanted
doing?
to do
Holding
the-
up to get it. Holding up the koozie.
Definitely is something you guys should give us a holler if you guys want one of those. But as you guys can see here, we've got a nice golden color coming off of this. It's sort of
You're holding it right under the.
Yeah, you gotta hold it right here.
There you go.
Oh, there it
you
is.
got it.
Was I right that time?
We'll find out.
Anyways, yeah. So it's got a sort of cloudy.
Looks
It's
definitely like the morning after a drunk night urine.
Yes.
Oh shit.
Yes.
And
Now drink it.
It's even got the bubbles too.
Oh, does it smell like nasty asparagus?
Oh, man.
Let's go ahead and take a drink, you guys.
Let's
Here we go.
do it, all of us.
All right. So let's learn about the IBU and the APV.
Yeah.
What do you got, Brandon?
ATV?
Later Days
And the WBT.
Session IPA
The LBM.
is a West Coast inspired session IPA. Those I thought you might
West
like that.
side is the best side. There's no side like the West side.
A West Coast inspired session
Yeah, it's
IPA
just
brewed with
gloss over
generous
that.
amounts of mosaic and citra hops.
Mosaic, like
it's
tiles?
the mosaic hops that really stand out in this to me. Got like take that first initial kind of bitterness. That's the mosaic hops.
Yeah, that's that grapefruit sort of taste you get.
Smooth on the taste, hoppy on the nose, and once again, that's the mosaic hops. The citra hops, you can take them or leave them.
Take them. I'm gonna
But-
take them.
APV, ABV, 5.5.
Ain't bad.
IBU.
5.5?
All right.
IBU.
And it's
Any
an
guesses?
IPA.
21.
Oh, well, no, hold up a second. 21. Okay, well, the last one we drank was Mosaic, which was quick 45, and then I'm gonna say this is even less than that. You're probably in the realm. You're probably closer. I'm gonna say 30.
30, Los and Passion, 21.
21.
You get to come pull a $100 bill out of my pants.
Goddamn right.
Get out of here.
The,
Oh, yeah?
the
On the
IBU
nose.
on this beer can drink itself.
Did you you look it up somewhere on here? Yeah,
Yeah, it's on the can.
Oh, it's on the can.
fucking dick. No wonder it was so precise too. I'm like 21. Is he just guessing? All right. Well, congratulations for winning that.
I
That
didn't
being
know
said-
that was a thing. Is that something we do now?
Yeah, we've been doing IBUs.
Well, I know IBUs, but like winning on it, like guessing right and winning something.
Well, you got it right on the nose.
Well, maybe we can make it something. I
right
don't
where the
know.
mosaic sits.
Yeah. Well, he also makes sure to put a couple $100 in his pocket for anything that we guess correctly.
in my pants.
Yeah,
in my
and-
pocket.
And we have to get them out ourselves.
Well, he zips down.
Preferably with your mouth.
He just
but-
zips down, and we have to go in there with our teeth.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
All right.
I'm glad that I admitted to cheating on this one then.
So,
Oh no, you still won.
did you get this one?
I got one. Yeah, I got it.
Is there an extra beer somehow?
Well, this is still my first.
Oh.
Fucking slow, fucking pussy. You need a. I'm just kidding. All right, so because you guessed the IBUs correctly by not
I
cheating.
get to go first?
You get to go
By
first. and
not
rate this
cheating.
beer.
I'm not really a fan of the.
I don't think you would be either.
It's a bit bitter. I'm not a bitter
It's a
guy.
little bitter.
At the front, like at the end of it, the bitter is better.
Ooh, so you're getting more used to that bitter.
Well, like it starts off bad, and then it goes away, and then you're left, tasting just beer after that. So I will give it a 3.8.
3.8.
That is
it,
fair.
It comes on raunchy, but then it mellows the fuck out and lets you just actually taste beer. So
yeah, I got a couple friends that are like that, man.
yeah,
All right, Brandon, what do you think?
present
let me-
company excluded, of course.
Of course.
Let me get a fresh sip.
He's going
right
to take a
here.
little sippy. That was a weird sounding drink that you just did there.
I know. Yeah,
Yeah, man. You
fuck was
just
that?
you
Sounded like a
relax,
chipmunk or
You
something.
relax your throat, and it just flows down. That's the secret.
Cup the
I've heard
bowls.
that is
Well, that's
different noises
optional.
altogether.
All right, what do you got?
It's kind of like last week. It's just very filling. I don't see myself being able to drink more than 2 or 3. However, that bitterness, it does wash away pretty good. I'll give it an even 4.
Great. I like this beer. Yeah, I wouldn't drink many of them. I think the two that I have here will be just fine and will be good. Because the alcohol volume is so low, I kind of have to dox it a bit because if you're going to be something that I can only drink one or two of, don't you think you should have a little bit more
You'd
alcohol
have a little
in there?
weight in there, yeah.
That being said, this is going to get a solid 3.
A 3?
Very low on the low scale there when it comes to
Man, I can't
IPAs.
believe that I rated an IPA higher than you did. That's weird.
It's irate that you I-rated. That's the Brew World Order.
I don't think that word means what you think it means.
Irregardless.
It's the Brew World
It's a longer delay than you think there.
Yeah, it is.
All right. How does a Muslim close a door? He slams it. That's right. We're going to talk about freedom of speech. I had to throw it in there.
Yeah, you just...
It's
you kind of just spit it up and chewed it up and spit it out. You didn't really let the joke breathe and...
Good.
Okay, all right.
We're going to talk about political correctness here, folks. Are you guys familiar with it? Doy. We are living our lives and fucking seeing it every single day. From the changing of medical terms and common sense definitions to the actual banning of movement and speech, political correctness has been growing in its use in American culture. We see it every day on the TV, to the big screen, and all over the media, and it's being taught in public schools and universities all over the country. But what exactly is political correctness? Merriam-Webster defines it, quote, conforming to a belief that language and practices which could offend political sensibilities as in matters of sex or race should be eliminated. Here's the second one. Boom. If you just go to a simple Google search, it says the avoidance often considered as taken to extremes of forms of expression or action that are perceived to exclude, marginalize, or insult groups of people who are socially disadvantaged or discriminated against. Words are a tool for communication, and our tools have been reimagined with correctness in mind. But who's to say anybody's correct? Where did this line of thinking come from? Where did political correctness come from?
I don't know, man, but I really want to know.
I want to know too. So first we're going to read from academia.org on the origins of PC, an article by Bill Lynn. He's an author, columnist, and has a master's degree in history. This was published February 5th, 2000. Boom. If we look at it analytically, if we look at it historically, we quickly find out exactly what it is. Political correctness is cultural Marxism. It is Marxism translated from economic to cultural terms. It is an effort that goes back not to the 1960s and the hippies and all the peace movement, but back to World War I. If we compare the basic tenets of political correctness with classical Marxism, the parallels are very obvious. So let's find out what that means. So first, Bill Lynn describes PC as being cultural Marxism. So let's dive into that first, okay? The cultural Marxism of political correctness, like economic Marxism, has a single-factor explanation of history. Economic Marxism says that all history is determined by ownership of means of production. Cultural Marxism, or political correctness, says that all history is determined by power, by which groups defined in terms of race, sex, etc., have power over which other groups have power over which other groups. Okay. I get it. It's Marxism. We're saying Marxism. But what's the proof of this, right? We can say everything that we hate is Marxism or communist or something, right? Where's the proof? For that answer, we're going to travel back to 1923.
They didn't have Twitter back then.
1923.
Boom.
The Institute for Social Research is a research organization for sociology and continental philosophy, best known as the institutional home of the Frankfurt School and critical theory. The purpose was to find a solution to the biggest problem facing the implementers of communism in Russia. They wanted to know why wasn't communism. I'm saying communism, but I'm saying communism spreading. Why wasn't it spreading? Because Western civilization was in its way with its belief in the individual, and that individual could develop valid ideas. What does that mean, Nick?
Western civilization was in its way with its belief in the individual, and an individual could develop valid ideas. So, then you get to think as an individual person. You don't have to think as a group or as a commune. That's communism.
It's individual first.
Is that what that means?
Pretty much. That's how I interpret it.
Huh? Marx's theory predicted that if war came to Europe, the working class in every European country would rise and revolt. Well, that theory would be proved wrong. When the First World War happened in 1914, the workers' loyalty to their country proved stronger than their so-called class consciousness. They willingly put on their uniforms and fought each other. Well, meanwhile, a Marxist revolution was happening in 1917, but it wasn't spreading fast to the West. Why? That gave a couple dudes an idea.
Dudes.
Yeah, a couple dudes. So we got a clip right over here. And why don't we take a listen and get into that? Still got some human music playing there. I like it, though.
Its true Marxist class interests. Before a Marxist revolution could take place, Western culture
Let's
had to
go
be
ahead and
destroyed.
play that back again
In
there.
1919, Lukács,
Edit point.
It sounded cool, though. It was like a nice little remix for a moment.
since Marx himself.
All right, so that gave a couple dudes an idea. Here you go.
What had gone wrong? Antonio Gramsci in Italy and Georg Lukács in Hungary believed they had the answer.
Gramsci and Lukács argued that Western culture had blinded the working class to its true Marxist class interests. Before a Marxist revolution could take place, Western culture had to be destroyed. In 1919, Lukács, who was considered the most brilliant Marxist theorist since Marx himself, asked, "Who will save us from Western civilization?" That same year, 1919, Lukács became Deputy Commissar for Culture in the Bolshevik Bela Kun government in Hungary, where he launched a program of cultural terrorism. As part of that program, Lukács introduced a radical sex education program into the Hungarian schools. Political correctness, as we know it, was already beginning to take form.
He tried to actually undermine the unity of the family, and that was one of the reasons that he tried to introduce sex education.
Laszlo Pastor, a leader in the Hungarian resistance against the communist takeover of Hungary after World War II, explains why children were targeted.
It's always much tougher to convert an adult, to do something what he was taught not to do.
All right,
the program
there you
left
go.
great residual effects on Hungary.
The only thing what we were permitted to accept as far as culture is concerned, what they were teaching, that was it. Free thinking was a very big sin.
Looks like I had a few more seconds left on that one. Anyways, what the most important part of that clip is that he said it's much tougher to convert an adult.
Right.
So we must teach the children these things.
That makes sense. You're going to make an impact that's going to last in the future. You get that future.
Go and throw that picture number 6 here. This is George Lukács. Now, not George Lucas. It looks like you're saying George Lucas, and if you try to look it up, it'll correct you right away. But so it's not the Skywalker version. And he implemented some sex education to children, which really sounds bad, right? But teenagers are considered children until 18.
Sure.
So that sounds good, right? The Hungarians did not like that.
Don't wait till they're 18 to have sex. I sure didn't. So
goddamn right.
It's important to have them know a safe way to do it.
Well, especially back then in the Roaring 20s when it was like.
Why, yeah, they were roaring for sure.
They were roaring, dude. Like
hormones were roaring.
All those flappers.
All that vaginas were roaring. And now you got alcohol.
Or there was lots of alcohol during the Prohibition, which is great. So here he is right here. Boom. George Lukács. Lukács.
They were saying with like an H in the video.
Lukács.
Like Lukács.
Lukács. I think that we'll do it that way. All right.
Lukács.
The Hungarians did not like all that sex education that he was teaching the kids. It went against the Western values of Hungarian because they definitely admired the Westerns.
Why would you give a shit? I just don't. Anyway.
Well, the government that he was part of fell apart due to the Hungarians rising up and revolting because of Lukács' attack on traditional Western culture. So he was part of the government, implemented some shit, and everyone rised up and revolted against him.
No, sex ed is bad.
We don't want none of that. Ting.
We don't want our
kids
knowing.
You don't know me, but I know where you live.
Dale, is that you?
I don't want my kids knowing how to
times
bang.
change to 3 o'clock.
But in Germany, a Marxist think tank was developing by the son of a millionaire, Felix Weil. to critique Western culture, capitalism.
Wait, Weil?
His name is Weil.
Ugh.
With a W, though, so you have to pronounce it Weil.
Well, yeah, because W's are pronounced V's, like Steve Vai, Volkswagen.
Volkswagen, wat would vous do?
I don't think Y's are V's.
What would Jesus vous? All right.
What?
Felix Weil wanted to get this think tank going to critique Western culture and take on the role of translating Marxism from economic into cultural terms. He is disturbed by the divisions among Marxists, so he sponsors something called the First Marxist Work Week, where he brings Lukács and many of the key German thinkers together for a week, working on the differences of Marxism. Mm-hmm. And thanks to Felix Weil and his endless pocket of greenery, the Marxists had a place to gather and start Public Policy Institute to serve as a home for advanced Marxist thought. Advanced Marxist thought. The institute was called the Institute for Marxism.
How original.
Well, that name didn't stick. Martin Jay, the chairman of History Department in Berkeley, explains why they changed their name.
I think they were very interested in trying to avoid being overly labeled. So it's a fairly bland name, the Institute of Social Research.
The Institute was affiliated with Frankfurt University in Frankfurt, Germany, and in time became known simply as the Frankfurt School.
All right. They were, of course, upset with social economic conditions of capitalism. They wanted to disguise their intent, the intent of their Marxist teachings, by naming it the Institute for Social Research. Here's the picture right there. Boom. We're researching, basically, they were only researching how Marxism can be used to cripple and crumble capitalism there. It wasn't a research on much anything there.
So it was just how to bring it down, Western civilization.
They hated it.
Well, yeah, because they wanted to spread communism.
They were like, why isn't communism spreading? Why are people rising up against communism?
Well, do you think that it's because here in the Western culture that we were focused on the individual first instead of the society? And once you get like the taste that, hey, I am my own person and I have an impact instead of us as a whole, don't you think that's hard to let go?
Yeah. I maybe. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So the Institute then later finally named itself the Frankfurt School. Can you see the name changing pattern already starting here? Which made trying to figure out what they did by their name difficult. The people behind it decided at the beginning that it was not to their advantage to be openly identified as Marxist.
Oh, no.
Really?
Why wouldn't they want to just be openly known as Marxist?
I really don't know why.
Is that a bad thing?
Following Lukács' lead, I like him. We're just going to call him Lukács. It almost sounds like
the Mortal Kombat guy, Liu Kang.
But he's got cocks for legs and he's like, cocks for legs. That's all I can think of, man.
Dictality.
Cocktality. Oh. Following Lukács' lead, the Frankfurt School would be the vehicle that translated Marxism from economic to social terms. We've been saying that many times. And given us what we know today as political correctness. The school's first director, Karl Grunberg, in his speech at the inaugural address, I'm so shitty today.
Inaugural
address. I wrote all this stuff.
Inaugural.
Nope. You're doing GRU and it's GUR.
Anyways, here's a clip from 1923.
It has been our intention here from the outset to maintain uniformity in the way we look at problems and go about solving them. I, too, am one of the opponents of the economic, social, and legal order which has been handed down to us from history. And I, too, am one of the supporters of Marxism. In the new research institute, Marxism will from now on have a home.
Well, there you go. First off, problems have more than one way to be solved, and uniformity isn't a great way of solving social issues, as everyone is different.
Mm-hmm.
Second, this is Marxism we're talking here. This is the home of critical theory. What is that? Boom.
Critical theory.
Let's talk about that for a moment. Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. If you guys
Encyclopedia.
Right? Encyclopedia.
Encyclopedia.
That's actually the E and the A, you guys, makes that sound pedia. Critical theory has a narrow and broad meaning in philosophy and in the history of the social sciences. Critical theory, in the narrow sense, designates several generations of German philosophers and social theorists in the Western European Marxist tradition known as the Frankfurt School. According to these theorists, a critical theory may be distinguished from a traditional theory according to a specific practical purpose. A theory is critical to the extent that it seeks human emancipation from slavery, acts as a liberating influence, and works to create a world in which satisfies the needs and powers of human beings. And that was Horkheimer in 1972. Because such theories aim to explain and transform all the circumstances that enslave human beings, many critical theories in the broader sense have been developed. They have emerged in connection with the many social movements that identify varied dimensions of the domination of human beings in modern societies. In both the broad and narrow senses, however, a critical theory provides the descriptive and normative basis for social inquiry aimed at decreasing domination and increasing freedom in all their forms. Over time, in several generations, we see PC culture and tasks of oppression among the working class, the gender studies, the toxic masculinity, all the seemingly new concepts that have come from this school of thought, Marxism. This Marxism is taught in colleges and universities, and as we learned earlier, it's much tougher to convert an adult. That's why we were seeing this more than ever. So let's look at some words that have changed due to political correctness. Boom! First of all, special. That's the most PC way of calling someone that's retarded. Special. I'm sorry, don't get... Dude, the way he looked at me when I said that, take it easy. But special is a PC way of saying differently abled, which is not PC anymore, but which is a PC way of saying retard. Retardation is the act of an act or result of delaying the extent to which anything is retarded or delayed, which happens in music. You retard a note as well, right?
It happens in aircraft maintenance when you retard a throttle or a condition lever.
Did you know that retard, look at you go. Did you know that retard was a PC way of calling someone an idiot at one point? An idiot was formerly a legal and psychiatric category of profound intellectual disability, where a person's mental age is 2 years or less, and he or she cannot guard herself or himself or themself against common physical dangers. Well, idiot was a PC way of saying moron, and moron was a term once used in psychology and psychiatry to devote mild intellectual. I'm like tapping on it. What does that one say? So out of these three words, retard, idiot, moron, which one of these is more offensive to you, Nick?
Retard.
Sounds so bad, right? Retard. Because it's sort of like that.
Okay, but idiot and moron now don't mean what they used to mean. Like, idiot used to be an actual condition where you physically have developed, but mentally you were still like at 2, right? You were still a toddler, essentially.
That's right.
You know, so now idiot's like something you call your friend when they can't pronounce inaugural or something. You know, it's definitely a much lightened
How
term.
dare you talk to me like that?
So there's a difference, and that's why that one is more offensive than the other two, because the other two now don't have the literal meaning that they used to.
So what if we started...
So eventually, I'm sure that'll come around to not mean what it does now.
Well, technically, it's not PC. Well, it still isn't PC, but do you think differently abled, which is what replaced retard, is any better? I mean, it is better. It doesn't sound like it offends anybody. You definitely, let's see here.
Because that's still... It's differently abled means they're still capable. It's not putting them down or holding them back in any way or saying there's anything wrong with them. It still says they're like, it's still empowering them as able people.
I'm not bad. I'm just a friend.
What?
I'm your friend.
You're a pen?
I am your friend. I'm just trying to be your friend.
Oh.
So,
yeah, well, that's fine.
Which is more offensive to you guys out there? They mean almost the same thing, and yet now idiot and moron don't seem as offensive.
I just broke that down. You should have explained that shit, because I fucking broke that right down. Yeah, there we go. Better Nathan Lever.
Nick explains.
And I did.
And that was Nick explains.
Why did you just...
All right.
And we all walk away with a little more knowledge.
So those don't seem as offensive. How about this one? You wouldn't want to call anyone a cripple a moron. You wouldn't want to call a cripple a moron.
Well, moron had nothing to do with physicality.
Unless they have no use of
was
the
a
legs
mental.
and they have a very low IQ.
Ah, see.
So you didn't let me finish, dude. But even if there was one in front of you, I dare you.
Well, I wouldn't do it.
That's right. What about the term used for black people? Oh, here we go. This word I can agree with that no one should ever say, but if anyone can, everybody can. I don't know why I wrote that. But the word changed to colored people, then African Americans, then black, then finally people of color, which also refers to anyone that isn't white, by the way.
Right.
Person of color, right? Boom! The NAACP, the CP stands for colored people, but it does date back to when they were talking that way. So maybe they should update it if...
They probably should.
Yeah.
The NAA...
Or
Yeah,
not.
but then they'd have to get a new business license
Right.
and a DBA.
My point is that they don't have to, because we don't need to keep changing things
No.
based on why people think if they're offensive or not, because maybe these are the terms that we started with. It's tradition in a way, and sometimes tradition like that, like our language, comes from lots of different things.
Right, but it also grows and changes and evolves, and that's the point of it. You can't stay the same forever.
But changing simple words like moron to idiot, do you think if they even did that, it would even be retard at one point?
Like it never would have even graduated
Yeah,
to that?
it might not have ever graduated.
No, then the term retard would only apply to objects
Well,
or like
remember-
acceleration or things like that it's supposed to apply to.
Sure, real things, right? Just like niggardly means something completely different.
Yes, it does.
But retard was a replacement of idiot and moron,
Mhm.
and which was a PC term at one point. So the words that
Right, they
now
just...
it's terrible. You would never want to call
when you're
anyone
like
a retard.
when you're 5 words back, then all of a sudden you get a different connotation and it's okay.
But it was always okay because it was okay at one point.
Well, no, because apparently moron became not okay, and then they had to say idiot instead of moron because moron wasn't PC
well, who
anymore.
decided that?
Society. How's everybody decide what you can and can't say anymore? That's how it goes.
I think there's a lot of retards out there that like to take back that name.
I don't think
We are the
anybody wants. I
retards.
don't think anybody wants to take
We
that
are the
name back.
retards, and we're taking back this retard.
I highly doubt that.
I wanted to get him like, dude, that's so offensive. Let's here's a fun
Sorry,
game.
everybody
we can play.
knows.
Well, we got
you're
a
so-
recommendation coming through on the comments.
What do we got?
Someone telling us to recommending the euphemism treadmill. It's the term coined in the book by Steven Pinker in 2000 titled "The Black Slate," and it's pretty much that. It's just a revolving door style of just okay. These words are now offensive. Let's
right, and then they come
recycle
back.
them.
They
and
come
then,
back as something else. So now
yeah,
idiot
that's-
doesn't mean what it used to mean. Now it's like a.
That's
I don't
kind of
know.
what I'm.
Now let
what
me
I'm
ask
getting
you.
from it.
Let's say
Yeah.
someone gets perhaps ostracized
And maybe it'll
for
come back
something like that.
around and
So-
be offensive again. Then you trip on it and fall, slide off the back of the treadmill.
So
Everybody laughs.
So you're all right with just letting it be offensive, or not letting it be offensive, and letting that word getting taken away, and then maybe come back in 20 years, and you can be all right with saying it when it comes back.
I don't think it's necessarily that it disappears and comes back. It's just the meaning of words change. That's how the whole idiot or idiom game fucking started, because we know that language evolves, words change. What they used to mean is not what they mean now. What things mean now, they won't mean in 20 years. And you can't change that.
Which
There's nothing you
you're
can do
absolutely
about
right,
that.
but when we talk about idiots and stuff like that, these words weren't changed because something deemed as offensive, which is what
You
we're
don't
talking
think
about
that's
here.
why you're saying this was a PC term for this word, meaning this word used to be bad and this was the PC way of saying it, right? So we started with moron, and then idiot became the PC way of saying moron because moron was offensive.
But you're still saying the same thing, though.
You're saying the same thing, but it's a better term, or it's a less offensive
So it
term.
sounds
That's what it is.
better, but it's the same meaning.
Yes,
Like you can't call someone pimple face.
going to black and then going to person of color or whatever. Like
It
you're
still
saying
conveys
the
the
same,
same
thing,
message.
but you're saying it in a more acceptable term.
Hey, metal tooth in the mouth.
I get that. I get that to a point, but how where do you draw the line and who decides that? That's
you don't.
the problem
it just
that
constantly
I have.
evolves. Like every few generations, they're going to say things differently. Every generation comes out differently, right?
Hey, Grandpa.
They have different slang.
Sure,
Grandpa
So,
Nick.
absolutely.
As that happens, language changes. Words mean different
Oh,
things.
absolutely.
You know?
I'm on board that language changes.
So
it evolves.
I don't know that there's definitely a necessary we sat down and had a meeting and decided you can't say moron anymore.
Well,
it just
no, and how about this
it
term?
just changed. It just evolved into everybody's like, man, that's really shitty to say to someone. Why don't you say idiot instead? It's much
Okay,
nicer.
sure, I get that, but how about it's now frowned upon to refer to somebody as Oriental, of Oriental descent.
I'm
like
sticking to that one. I
and
like that one.
it's one of those things. It's like who?
Well, they are from the Orient. It's just like some people say Mexican's offensive. If they're from Mexico, then they are Mexican.
That's what they are.
Now,
if you just assume they're brown skinned, then yes, that.
Or if you say, "Oh, they're lazy because they're Mexican," well, then you're crossing the fucking line.
Then you're just Jeff from Texas.
Right. Then you're just Jeff from Texas.
Hey,
but like
you guys call me?
I've worked with a Mexican man before in Kansas doing home repair. He was not pissed off if you called him Mexican because he's from Durango,
That's
Mexico.
what he was.
Right. Now, if you used it offensively, that's
Sure.
different. It's
Oh,
like,
you dirty
it's like the
Mexican,
difference between when he would say, "Oh, the white guy," or "this cracker," or something like. Yeah, I'm a white dude, but if you're saying it like, "Oh, white guys don't know how to do this" or whatever, then hey, man, whoa.
Well,
Then it's more about the whole statement you're making, not the fact
So
that
it's
you
the
said
context.
white.
You guys make a
absolutely
you guys make
context.
a,
It's absolute context.
You guys make a good a segue here for this real quick here.
I don't ride those.
This man was fired from CVS for denying someone's coupon. But that's not what I wanted to get into because this is whatever.
Oh,
it's
that
yesterday's
guy.
news.
Coupon Charlie or whatever.
Coupon Charlie here. He was describing Homegirl to the police, and he goes, and he's shaking like a leaf. He goes, you see the thing shaking like this. He goes, she's African American, and she goes, I'm black. Black's not a bad word. I'm black. So people don't want to be called African American anymore.
But
they
people
want to
are
be called black now.
so ready to throw out the race card. Like if he'd have said
I don't
black,
think they, you know what? I don't think
she'd
they,
have been like, I'm African American. I mean, like it's
maybe
at that point, like that situation was so volatile, like it wasn't gonna stop.
I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to get into the story or anything, but yeah. We're seeing words change. But I thought we should play a little game here. And Nick, you shouldn't look at this because you're going to play the game with me.
Oh,
Now,
this is a good one.
If I get this on the head, how many $100 bills can I get?
You get
as many as I have in my pants.
That's right. So I'm going to give you a word. Yeah, you keep your eyes closed and open your mouth. Okay, just kidding. I'm going to give you a word that's not PC, and I want you to give me the actual political correct term, okay?
And like current, modern.
The current modern one or whatever you think is the most PC one. We'll start with the simple one, alive.
Alive?
Uh-huh.
How is that offensive? Why does that need to be changed?
That might be offensive to people that are in a coma, dude.
It's leaving out people, who are in a coma or
that are
like
still
aren't
alive?
alive. Yeah, it's leaving. Well, and the big thing with PC is that it leaves people out. It doesn't. It's not all inclusive.
That's not inclusive, dude. Not everybody is alive on the inside or the outside, right? How about this one? We'll skip that one.
Well, no. Let me try it. Alive.
Here.
Breathing abled. I don't know.
Close. Temporarily metabolically abled.
Oh, right. I was just gonna stumble on that one.
All right. So let's. How about this one? Bald.
Bald, hair challenged, follically challenged.
Yes, exactly right.
$100 bill.
Let's go down a little bit. How about short? Easy one.
Vertically challenged.
That's right. So you know you're PC. All right. How about unemployed?
Employment challenged.
Involuntarily leisured.
Involuntarily what? Leisured.
Leisured. What? How about
that's my excuse.
How about white trash?
Basura blanco. All right. White
That's
trash.
a good one. This is a real good one.
Melatonin and hygienically challenged.
You're never gonna get this one right because it's not. It actually is a PC way, I guess, because it says white trash and white trash is the translation, the PC translation. So, evidently, you can still make fun of white people in the PC world.
You know, we've had a good run. It's kind of our turn to get on the receiving end of some. Derogatory terms.
Love
and some
white
shit talk.
trash. This is why I love it so much. What's the
right,
PC word for white trash?
I
sir,
tried and you said no.
Sir, that is the PC term for white trash.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Lumberjack.
Lumberjack?
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Timberly abled?
Tree murderer. Here's a good one. Prostitute.
Oh, working lady.
Yeah, sex worker. That's a good enough one. How about a housewife?
Housewife.
This one's ridiculous. A housewife. I mean, they totally are.
I don't know. Domestic parent.
Engineer.
Yeah, they dress it up with a thing.
All right, we're gonna do one last one here. How about gossip? I guess gossip's not PC anymore.
I didn't know gossip is not.
Maybe these are like ones that are going to not PC one day.
Factually challenged.
No, it's a speedy transmission of near factual information.
Well, hang on. I want to throw out a few more.
That's the literal translation of it.
I want to throw out. I think Los, I sent you this one. You didn't respond, but
yeah, well, I'm busy.
Have you guys ever used flip charts? Like made one in school?
Oh, I thought you were calling me a flip for some reason. I was like, that's offensive.
No. Okay,
I'm Filipino.
Well, yes, because it's deemed offensive to Filipino people. Using a
chart?
flip chart that is designed to be flipped over, on the back of pages and all that.
Huh.
How dare you talk to me like that?
You can make fun of my whiteness, but don't you dare get near my Filipino
Your
heritage.
Filipino-ness.
Your Filipinas?
Last one, very last one. Lazy.
Motivationally challenged.
Deficient.
Oh. Motivationally deficient. Damn it. So I got one right.
If you guys want to give us a call and play a quick little game, we'll give you 5 of them, and if you win, you get a prize.
All you got to do is beat my one, I guess. I mean, I was pretty close on some.
Dude, you were way closer than one. You were there on most of them. Lumberjack, you horribly got wrong. Oh, how about... No, I want to save some of these for people that are going to call. What are some good ones? Here, dead. Because it's obviously offending the people that are alive here. The living
all right,
impaired.
coma or not, you're dead, you're dead. Like, there's no way to fucking...
I'm beginning to think this site here is just sort of satire.
I don't think that this is serious. Tree murderer, I mean, a very few groups of people might use the term tree murder, I guess, but I don't think that...
See, what they do...
Dead would be... I would say living enabled, but there's probably a better word than living, like...
impaired.
Well, so what's the motive?
Oh, yeah, impaired, sorry. I was trying to think, like, not more... There's got to be a better word than living. They can't just be...
Well, you can't say alive, because that's also...
Well, right, and if you're dead, then you're like...
Now,
I guess living.
Do you see how hard our language is getting now that we can't say the simple words that mean what they actually mean?
Hey, guys, this all, like, reminds me of a book.
Yeah, something that's got some new speak in it, perhaps.
Yeah, some even double think.
Oh, George Orwell, you are so right.
I mean, he really is. And Los, do you have 1984? Nick, do you have 1984? Have you guys?
No,
read
I have read it, but I do not have it.
Not only do I have it,
I read it in high school
that year.
Right, oh shit!
So that
I was already 2 when that came out.
I was
you
not
weren't
born yet.
that time.
I was not born yet.
Let's move on.
Nick's old. Okay,
let's move on, you guys.
I'm youthfully impaired. I get it.
So let's finish up here, you guys. If you guys want to call, we can still do this in the news and everything. PC culture has now fully taken over games, movies, TV, and social media, as you can see here. Some of these are great. Some of these are really shitty. I've never seen Ocean's 9.
Don't say shitty.
Shitty's bad?
Yep, shitty's bad.
Why? Isn't it? It's people that can't shit will be offended. Shit, fuck that's right.
Damn.
God damn it. Now, did you like the Lady Ghostbusters? And
I have not seen any of the Lady reboots.
No, are you interested at all?
What
if they rebooted Rocky as a
the
woman?
Female? They kind of did with $1 Million Baby, and it was awesome.
Oh, that's right. That's what the chick fucking fell on the stool and broke.
Yeah. So I mean,
I saw that episode of It's Always Sunny.
That's the only reason why I know.
It did not end like a Rocky movie, but she was badass as shit, and I loved that movie.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
If they made Okay, if they made a female Rocky, I'd be all about it.
That was Nick Explains. Nick Explains.
The other ones, like, I've gone back and watched the old Ghostbusters. 2 especially is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And the first one is all right, but not enough for me to give a shit. Like, I'm sure it'll be on Netflix and I'll watch it. I'm not opposed.
So far, yeah.
I'm not like, oh my god.
Not the lady one.
So I'm not like, what with women? I don't give a shit about Ghostbusters. And the Ocean's movies were all right. And I've heard that the new one, Ocean's 8, wasn't so much like a reboot with women.
It's like a prequel.
It was a tie-in.
Oh.
They're like one of them is related to Danny Ocean, so it's just like another group doing more.
So they come from a crime family. Why are we making this like a thing? We're just promoting violence.
Well, hey, that's all Martin Scorsese has done for fucking 50 years, man. It's a thing.
It's been working.
Why can't we go do that kind of shit, boys? Why
crime?
Can't we be the crime fucking syndicate, the 3 guys?
I mean, not one of us are fucking smart enough to pull that shit off.
Really? So the smart people, do they have to go to like school to be smart, or they're just born
the
that
school's
way?
called prison.
Now you're.
No, that's what happens when you're not smart enough to be a crime
Now you're offending me
syndicate.
because I'm not. What is the PC word? You can't even say smart anymore because that offends me because I'm not smart.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you were smart, you could figure out the PC term for this.
I think he's got you.
Just fucking blew my
God
mind.
damn it.
So
Where's that spittoon?
Ting! Reboots of do we have it up? Reboots of movies with an all-women cast, which I'm all right with, but it has to be
totally
organic.
fine.
It has to be organic. And
Yeah, it needs to make sense. It can't just be like for
Not
the
because-
sake of it.
yeah, Sure. exactly.
Like the new Star Wars movies, they have a female lead instead of like. I mean, Luke Skywalker's still in them, but now you've got.
I got a problem with it. By
Yeah,
the way.
so let's talk on this, guys. How
I
do y'all
think
feel
she's-
about that
she's
stuff?
badass. So what's the problem?
I think she's badass, but I think that she's just like badass from the beginning, and like there's no struggle or anything
Very
that she has to
true.
do. And
Right.
There's no adversity. She
I
just
get
automatically has like all this power. She goes and sees Luke. If you guys saw Last Jedi, she goes and see Luke, and it's like 30 minutes, not even 30 minutes, where they're like talking, and all of a sudden she's like the master Jedi. That like there was no struggle.
It has nothing to do with her being a woman. It's just they did not. There's no arc. It's just I'm going along. All of a sudden I have this power. Oh wait, it's the Force. Oh, I'm awesome. Cool. Later. And
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, they made a
They
whole
needed a
fucking
fucking-
movie of that when
Right,
Luke
exactly.
came into it.
You know, so they needed to take a cue from Rocky and give her a goddamn montage. and
that montage life.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. So it's not the fact that it's a woman being the main star of this arc. It's the fact that they just didn't give her any fucking story.
Yeah, it's not her fault.
No.
No.
Anyway, sorry. Back to women reboots.
So anyways, banning shows that are offensive now. What am I saying? Banning shows that are offensive now, but were aired in the 90s. Oh, I was also talking about, all these different reboots and shit. But also what's going on in PC. Like, you would never see Married with Children on the air today.
Not anymore. And I used to love that. I've watched some of it since, and I'm like, I don't.
You go, holy fuck, dude. I watched just of him just making fun of fat people.
Yeah. And I remember laughing my ass off growing up, and I'm just like, yeah, I guess.
How dare you say that in front of my face? Well, I'd say that to your back, but I'd only have half a tank of gas. Like those kind of fat jokes and shit.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
So
But
I
he was-
asked, go ahead.
Oh, I was just say he was the best at it. Like nobody. I mean, Al had the fucking worst life ever, but nobody could top him in a game of insults and wits.
Yes.
That
There
was
was
the- that
this
was the
one
strength.
thing, though, where he was going to
Except
try to
his-
name all the presidents with Jefferson, and Jefferson was naming them, and he just kept saying, Eisenhower. Jefferson, Eisenhower. Washington, Eisenhower. He only.
That's the only one he knew.
That's
or
the only one he
something?
knew. I think he knew Ford as well.
Who's from Kansas?
Well, my man.
Abilene, Kansas. That's right.
So I ask, who's being helped with this PC culture?
Oh, I thought that was rhetorical.
I know, it sort of is. Who is being helped? Because no one's really being helped. It's just making words bad.
It's
and
making people feel good.
It does make
Right.
people
Look,
feel good.
look, if I don't know, I don't like when people say things that piss me off. So if there's something that pisses people off, then I don't want to say it.
But what pisses
Like,
you
I don't
off?
wanna-
And how is
Isn't that-
somebody
isn't that
who doesn't
subjective?
know you supposed to know that?
Right, that does right, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, I don't like being upset by things. Nobody does. So
Yeah, nobody
if there's a term that I know people don't want to be called, like a group of people is now like, hey, we don't want to be called that, then I have no problem with just not saying it anymore and moving on to the term that they do like and not giving a shit whether. Well, how dare
How far
you
is that
not
gonna
let
go?
me
But
say
yeah,
this
exactly.
word?
How far is it going to go when you refer to a group of people and you just say, "Hey, those guys over there," and it's just a mixed group, and you get fucking shit because there's women over here
Right,
too.
right.
Like that's
Or how the fact that I call everybody dude regardless of gender, I don't see that as a gender term.
But see, like at a point in time, that's going to come.
You know what?
I'm
No,
sure.
I've
under
heard of that
attack.
one
I'm sure.
a
And
while
then
back.
I'll have to
I
remember,
don't-
okay, don't say that anymore.
I don't think that one's going to die down because there's a lot of women that just say,
Just
come
say
on,
dude.
guys. They
Or
say
just
or
guys
dudes.
is
Man.
not. I know it sounds because it's plural of guy, but
Of male,
guys
but
is very
it's-
much used unisex.
It's essentially y'all now.
Yeah.
Which I hope that never goes out of style.
Which really changes the whole plot of that musical, Guys and Dolls.
Guys and y'alls?
Well, I just mean guys not being just dudes anymore. Oh, wait, guys being dudes anymore. Shit, that doesn't work either.
No.
And what about the attack on just masculinity? Like, there's a huge movement to make men, feel bad for the sake of being men. What do y'all know about that?
I don't think it's... I think that that's the counter argument to it, but that's also missing the fucking point of the movement. It's just being overly patriarchal or, like, making it like.
Do you think
there
it's an
should be nothing wrong-
overreaction? Kind of like the whole straw situation. Everybody's trying to like ban.
I'm sure that there are individuals that overreact, but that's going to happen
They're going to be
in
like
everything.
sippy cups and shit. Like that's what you're going to get now is sippy cups.
Are you going to have to carry around your own like rewashable straw or something?
But don't you think just a drastic change in the system? Maybe, hey, let's put some money towards research and development. Let's create a biodegradable straw.
They have that. They're just a lot more expensive.
Well, I know, but more research will make them a lot. Will bring that cost down.
I'm sure it would.
What are those chocolate straws that you eat and shit?
Oh yeah.
No, just roll around with a pack of Sour Punch.
Oh, there you go. You know, they used to make those like straws, like nerd straws, for Slurpees. But then when you got to them, they were like hard as fuck, and you'd chip your teeth on them because they got all hard because of the cold.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
Sugar gets cold; it gets really hard.
Just like
it's
my
really
mama.
hard. Just
well,
like your who?
I was saying my mama. She gets real hard over it.
Whoa.
Okay, so we're gonna play you guys out. We're gonna play you guys out with another video from the wonderful minds over at PragerU. It is just on the topic we discussed today and how far political correctness could go if not stopped. So before we play it next week, we're gonna wrap up our freedom of speech series with. I didn't write anything down, so you guys don't know yet. So that being said, you guys enjoy this clip.
How indignant can progressives make themselves? There's a real competition going on, and it's sweeping the nation. Progressive versus progressive competing to see who can most flamboyantly claim to be offended, to proclaim that their feelings have been hurt, or that their sensitivities have been rubbed raw, or their serenity disturbed, or their composure discombobulated by something that someone has said, or by something they have seen, such as a Confederate flag, or a building named after Woodrow Wilson. But actually, I think progressives are not sufficiently imaginative. There are many more things they could be indignant about, starting with where I live, Washington, D.C. The Washington Post newspaper is, if it will pardon the expression, on the warpath against the name of the Washington Redskins football team. The paper says the name is racist, insulting, demeaning, insensitive, and so on. But the Washington Post takes its name from its city, which is named for George Washington, who was not only a slave owner, he was a tobacco farmer, which some progressives probably think is almost as awful. No way! Surely the Post should change its name and should demand that the nation's capital be renamed, perhaps as Eleanor Roosevelt City. Obviously, it cannot be named for her husband, he who ordered the internment of 117,000 persons of Japanese descent, 2/3 of whom were native-born American citizens. And there are hundreds of other towns, counties, parks, and schools named for Washington, such as Washington and Lee University. Good grief, the name is double hate speech. Robert E. Lee actually commanded the Confederate Army. Washington is not the only name progressives should scrutinize. The word Oklahoma is a compound of two words from the Choctaw language, words meaning red and people. If it is intolerable to have a football team named Redskins, it must be worse to have a state named Red People. But let's get back to cleansing America of all mentions of historic figures who were less than perfect progressives. On the tidal basin in Washington, there's a memorial to the slave-owning Thomas Jefferson. This memorial should have a trigger warning carved into its marble. Jacksonville, Florida, and Jackson, Mississippi, and many other places and things are named for Andrew Jackson, the tormentor of Native Americans. All must be renamed for someone who was saintly as progressives understand saintliness. And speaking of saints, surely good progressives are traumatized by the names of St. Louis, St. Petersburg, San Diego, San Antonio, not to mention Corpus Christi. Progressives like it when courts rule that non-denominational prayers at high school graduations violate the separation of church and state. Why then don't they consider it a constitutional outrage that there are cities named for religious figures, including Nancy Pelosi's San Francisco? That city is, if progressives will pardon the expression, the Vatican of American progressivism. Progressives should demand that all such cities be renamed for progressive saints. Tony Bennett could sing, "I left my heart in Nancy Pelosi City." Or we could give these places names that give no offense because they have no meaning. Joseph Nippenberg is an American rarity, a sensible professor. His droll suggestion is that we spare progressives from discomfort by giving cities and buildings the kind of meaningless names that are given to car models, names such as Acura and Elantra and Sentra. And what about the state flag of hyper-progressive Massachusetts? Its flag depicts a Native American holding, brace yourself, a bow and arrow, a weapon. Surely progressivism's sensitivity police cannot permit this depiction. It reinforces the hurtful stereotype of Native Americans as less than perfectly peaceful people. Minnesota, too, should hang its head in shame. Its state seal depicts a pioneer tilling a field and a Native American riding away and carrying a spear. Any progressive can see that this seal conveys multiple racial slurs. The spear, another weapon, another stereotype of Native Americans as violent. The Native American riding away is stigmatized as nomadic, hence unproductive, whereas the farmer who is white is industrious. So, the seal communicates subliminal slander, the coded message of white superiority. Who knew that Minnesotans who have voted Democratic in 10 consecutive elections since 1972 embrace white supremacy? I could go on, but you get the picture. Still, you should feel sorry for the progressive sensitivity enforcers. Those who constantly find reason to take offense are rarely happy people. The problem, however, is that such people make almost everyone else miserable too. I'm George Will for Prager University.
To subscribe...
That's right, you guys. Be sure to check out PragerU on YouTube. You guys, there's a plethora of information. It is mostly right-leaning, though.
So he was really pissed off at progressives.
Yeah, well, it's a lot about them. Not every single one of them, of course, but a lot of this PC stuff.
My take on this is like
their take on speech.
If the group, like when he was talking about Massachusetts, if the Native Americans came out and were like, dude, what the fuck? Get rid of this. Okay, if the group being portrayed, whatever, has a problem with it, okay. But if you are just coming out to cause trouble because this is going to make another, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
If the one offended is the one speaking out, take it seriously. Because this is the one you're portraying. This is the one it's affecting. You know, does that make sense?
Sure. But
so, like, just the people that try to find something to have an issue with something, like, I get that it's too far, and
he did mention about the Redskins. They're
not
changing their name.
If you're not involved in the group that's being specifically targeted and you're offended, your argument has zero fucking weight.
Right. You're just, I mean, I get, like the term social justice warrior, I guess, but like, so good for you for standing up for everybody else,
Sure.
I guess, but if that Indian being portrayed on there doesn't have a problem with it, then maybe it's not as bad. You're the one with the problem.
He's not from India, bro. You see how this goes?
Yeah.
We're ready.
So I guess that's where I sit on that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys have your thoughts, be sure to give us an email or tweet us at EMEXPod on Twitter. You can also email us. I said that the first time, but it should have been emergency exit podcast at Gmail. You guys ready to do one little news story?
Let's do it.
Here we go.
Got the news with Nick and Los
And Brandon.
We coming at you, coming with the light. We got the news, we've got the news. We've got the news, we've got the news, yeah. We've got the news with Nick and Los.
And Brandon.
That's right.
Check it out. So the Herald Sun, this is a Australian publication. You guys know the names Lauren Southern and Stefan Molyneux?
Oh, I know that last one.
Molyneux?
Molyneux or something.
Molyneux,
like
right?
Yeah.
No,
I think it's Molyneux.
Molyneux.
Yeah.
Molyneux.
Sounds like a sauce.
Yeah, it does sound like a sauce. I had a gourmets today, which was just a fancy mayonnaise. They call it, it's a gourmet mayonnaise. I know what we'll call it. Gourmets. But Lauren Southern and Stefan what was his name?
Molyneux.
Molyneux. Whatever, he's Canadian. Who gives a shit? But these guys are Canadian. What? Okay. We're all about offensive speech here on Emergency Exit. But these guys are Canadian, quote-unquote, alt-righters. Basically, they speak against Islam. They don't like Islam very much. They call it... we don't want to go into what their politics are, but let's just let you know that's what they talk about.
He's got some interesting ones, though.
These guys are very well-spoken people. But they're on tour around the world to talk to people all over the country and all over the world, all over the globes, the flat earth, anywhere you want to be. And so their next stop is Australia. And so at first there was controversy. There was these articles coming out that they were banned from the UK, so therefore they can't go to Australia, which I think they're still banned from the UK. They can't go to the UK. And so therefore it translated over to Australia, which evidently didn't. They just had some problems with their work visa. So there are a lot of Antifa there. There's a lot of people that don't want these two to talk because they think that they're, racist. They're people that, say things that I say and they're considered, racist, or what else you call me? Retard and and Nazi and shit, whatever. But they're not, they're just people that have a different leaning of thought. They are more on the right side and they're more further to the right than most of us will be if we're in the center of things. But here's something outrageous. The cops in Australia, I think it was, I don't know the fucking city or the country in Australia. I just don't know that shit. Is there different states? States is what I meant, right? Different states.
Yes, sir.
Anyways, they were slapped with a $68,000 protection fee, which was a charge from the police for their protection, it was mostly just to pull away from keep all the Antifa away. Which didn't turn out, I guess they didn't really show up in the groves that they expected. But they threw that at them because that's just what you do when you don't like somebody. And they did this to Milo, who's another one of these alt-right fucking motherfuckers here, who happens to be a racist, Nazi, and anti-Semite, but he happens to be gay, married to a black man, and a Jew. You know anything about Milo?
No, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
He's like one of these guys that will throw everybody off because he's what the left is, right? Well, sort of in a way, but he's not. But he speaks all that right garbage that everybody doesn't like. The rhetoric.
So he's brainwashed.
Sure, if you want to put it that way, why not? So I'm going to read from the Herald Sun here.
Well, but hang on, is your beef because that they got slapped with the $68,000 fine? Because that's not, from what I know, that's not too out there, because you can't expect these police departments to cover these costs.
No one asked the police to come and mediate this.
Well, but they do it for good reason, because people don't like these people because of the message that they're speaking, and it gets people riled up, so and they don't want the violence.
If there was a video, I should have put the link on here of Lauren Southern. She's in Australia, and she has a flyer of this thing that says, we're going to go and protest this thing. And she goes around and says, what do you think of Lauren Southern? They go, should we kill her? So what she said, should we put her to death? And people were like, who? And she showed the flyer. Oh, yeah, she's a Nazi that is a white supremacist. And they were like, oh, yeah, we should kill them. Oh, yeah, fuck that. You know, there's some people like, no, we don't need to kill them, but they need to be arrested. You know, there's, some reasonable people out there.
Sure.
But it shows that nobody knows who she is. They hear those trigger words and they're like, oh, this is it, without really even listening to the speech or listening to her former words. We talked about Islam in our last discussion privately together, and and we're not going to talk about exactly what we talked about, but what I was saying is what she says, and that is not kosher for anybody. But in a way, it's so okay to criticize Christians, but you can't do the same with that other one. So that's kind of what their thought is. It's like, why is it that we are so okay with saying fuck Christ and shit, but then we can't say fuck Allah or
anybody
whatever,
says
right?
Fuck Christ.
Well, yeah, I'm using a hyperbolic here, so I'm not trying to get crazy here. But like I said, no one asked the police to
hyperbole?
Hyperbolic to be.
That's a chamber that you're in, isn't it?
No,
aren't you? Don't you go into a hyperbolic chamber, or does it have the same meaning? Like, no, I'm for real. Like, is that right?
Basically, hyperbolic. Well, yeah, you're right with that too. But hyperbolic is like the way that
hyperbole.
The way that Trump talks all the time.
I thought that was hyperbole.
Best. This cake here is the best.
Oh, so on a second grade level. Gotcha.
Second grade level. Okay, yeah, it's the richest second grader I ever fucking heard of.
You don't have to be smart to make money.
Or be given money.
Our culture will show you that.
Well, anyways, I did want to just bring that up and talk about that for just a moment. I don't want to read too much of that. This thing is too much to read. And the bottom line is that they didn't ask for all this protection, but they slapped them with this fee, which, do you think the Westboro Baptist Church got slapped with the fee of the protection that all those cops were there on their day off and shit?
Hard to say. I mean, if they were, then...
They didn't. The answer is they didn't.
Do you know that, though?
I really don't, but I
Well, also, this is Australia,
You're right.
A different country, so they do things
Fucking right.
differently.
God damn it. So we're going to sing another song because we are so happy to be an American. Because I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
Oh, no,
And
don't
I
do that. Don't do
won't
that.
forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Were those the Jets?
They were the Blue Angels, dude.
Oh, the Blue Angels, yeah. Blue Angels, what you get when you light a fart.
That's true. I wonder if they think that's offensive and they're like, listen, we can't call that anymore. They are the Blue Flyers.
Or they should just put a decal of a lit fart on the side of all the
Oh,
jets.
shit.
How do you know that's not already their thing there?
Because I've seen him.
It might be.
I've seen him. I've seen him a couple times in my lifetime as well.
I went down to Pensacola, Florida, and watched them do their thing.
Nice. You seen the Thunderbirds?
No. That old movie that inspired Team America?
Yeah, that one. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
I knew it was. I knew it.
Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Emergency Exit. How did you feel about today's episode? Contrite? That's right.
Oh, I thought that was something for the listeners. Was that? Are we supposed to answer that?
I just say things. I try to fill in the time.
Oh.
So we do have one more episode to do next week. I'm not sure what exactly we're going to talk about, maybe microaggressions, but it's one more bit of freedom of speech that we're losing. It's not losing, but we should be aware of what's going on. Pretty insightful Marxism stuff with the politically correctness stuff. I'm sure you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to follow us on Twitter. Follow Nick at Ryder Guitar. You can follow me at That's Right Lost. And don't follow Brandon because he's never on that show.
No, absolutely not.
But go on, go find us at EMEX Pod. So, for Nick the Passion Rider, for Brandon the Hard Hat Mitchell, I'm Lo saying, That's right. Yup. Hypobaric.